This is the Angels POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Los Angeles Angels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Well. Hello. I said halo. Hello, Halo Nation. Hello, Halo hopefuls, and welcome back to the latest edition of the Locked On Angels Postcast. Coming at you live, as always, after every single Angels game, right here live on the Locked On Angels YouTube channel and after the fact, both on the channel and wherever the heck you get the Locked On Angels audio podcast feed. If you don't know who I am, what is going on, everybody? My name is Gavin Carlson, former credentialed journalist in the LA area, spent 4 years covering UCLA sports with the Daily Bruin, now in year 2 with the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. Our team is the Angels, and I don't know, man. I don't know. It's the last week or so of this 2025 season, the last homestand for the Angels before they go to Houston to end the season. And, not go to Houston, end the season hosting Houston. But the last homestand begins with 3 against Kansas City, then 3 against Houston. And unsurprisingly, it does not start in a great way. Another loss for the Angels, coming off a series loss against the Colorado Rockies. It doesn't get any lower than that. Well, maybe losing 8 in a row, right? But after we had all the excitement on Saturday night, it was a fun show with you guys celebrating Mike Trout hitting 400 home runs, it coming in a win, it coming on a bomb. Right back to reality on Sunday. Wasn't able to do the show because of the Rams, of course. Back here on Tuesday, hoping you can start the series and the last homestand off with the win. Of course, this is an important game for the Angels in the sense that Sam Aldegheri is starting, right? And so there's not important games in terms of what they actually mean for the season or anything, but anytime a young guy is pitching on the mound, knowing how scary bad the rotation is going to be next season, it's important, right? We learned today that Kyle Hendricks is retiring at the end of the season. Not that there were plans for him to be in the rotation anyways next year, but knowing that Hendricks is gone, knowing that Tyler Anderson hasn't been very good, knowing that Kikuchi has been an underwhelming, ace, and Soriano has been an underwhelming number 2. We've seen highs and lows for Mitch Ferris. We've seen highs and lows with Kane Dana. And now we have been begging for Sam. Jedi, you're absolutely right in saying that the Halo Bros have been asking for Sam for a few weeks now. I totally agree. I always thought it was kind of weird that you're punting on the season and you're starting young guys, but why start Mitch Ferris? Why start, obviously Kane Dana? There's a lot of, potential and expectations there, but Sam is just as, highly regarded as Mitch Ferris, certainly higher, right? So you would expect him to get the first chance, but unfortunately, maybe we learned tonight why he was not given that first chance. He had some things to tweak. It's not been a great start to his young career, but today, not much better. Mixed feelings, in my opinion. Mixed feelings. We're going to get into that. We're going to talk about the lineup. We did have a nice moment with Bryce T getting his first career HR. Obviously, Mike Trout returns home after hitting 400 home runs. But we will start, of course. Before I say, shout out to everybody in here. Ben is awesome. What's going on? Jedi, saw you. Vinny says he's back. He says he went to the game today and they reminded him why he tuned out of baseball. Fair enough, Vinny. I will do this for you. Where is it? I got the hat, Vinny. Don't worry. I've got your hat. Shout out once again, as always, to Vinny the legend for giving me this hat. But without further ado, let's get into what the heck we're talking about.
This is what you'll be talking about.
It's got to be Sam Aldegheri because, like we just said, for all those reasons, we're anticipating his return. He's still just a 24-year-old starting pitcher who has some expectations. Still, I know that he hasn't been great so far, but still like the trade in which he was acquired, right? When you're able to kind of offload someone who wasn't really going to do much for you anyways, and you get a young arm in him, a lefty, a taller guy. Obviously, Estevez has been pretty good, but still, 6'1", 210, 24-year-old lefty with good stuff. He has good stuff, but the problem is he still has a long way to go. And this is a mixed feeling start for me because I thought there was some good. You look at the final stat line for him, 4 2/3. That's about as deep as an Angel starter normally goes. So that's really just fine. You see 7 hits and you go, not great. But you only see 3 earned runs and only 2 walks. And you think, okay, like, not terrible. We've certainly seen young Angel starters. We've certainly seen starters in general have, like veteran starters, Kyle Hendricks, Tyler Anderson, Jose Soriano, Yusei Kikuchi have worse performances than this, right? So 4 2/3 is pretty encouraging if you ask me. It took him 94 pitches, which isn't great. But I'll take 4 2/3. I will. 7 hits is concerning, but only 2 walks is nice and 3 earned runs. If you take out the first inning, it's almost a perfect outing from Sam Aldegheri. And that's the thing that makes it interesting trying to grade this start is you're disappointed in how he started the game, but you also want to reward him, having a scoreless second, having a scoreless third, having a scoreless fourth, that already deserves a lot of credit. But it coming off a rough first inning makes it that much more impressive. You guys know how much I talk about enjoying a resilient pitcher, and we saw that today from Sam, even though the first inning was rough. In case you forgot, it's a Michael Garcia double to lead off the ball game. Then a Bobby Witt Jr. single makes it 1st and 3rd before you could even blink an eye, right? Before people like Vinny might have even showed up to the ballpark. Although, Vinny, I remember you showing up well before first pitch when I met you in person. But still, 1st and 3rd before you can blink an eye, and then a wild pitch to score the run. I think that's what pissed me off the most is that first run wasn't even one that the Royals really earned and deserved. You gave it to them. You do strike out Pasquantino. You're like, okay, good. He's settling in. But then he gives up the base hit to Salvi Perez. The ball wasn't ripped or anything. 93 off the bat. But just like that, it's 2-0 Royals. He walks Mike Yastrzemski. That one was frustrating in my opinion because he got lefty on lefty. It's a long at bat. I get it. You come from 3-0 to 3-2, but to throw a 3-2 slider above the letter is just a complete miss. Very, very frustrating. But he got out of it, right? He falls behind 2-0, walks Mike Yastrzemski, but then gets Grichuk and Frazier and ends the inning with it just being 2-0. So if you look at that first inning, I mean, there's no other way to put it. It's a D first inning, right? You gave up 2 runs, could have maybe even given up more, but a 1-2-3 second, a third where you show more resilience, where a 2-out rally is about to form, where you have 2 on and 2 out, and you're able to get out of that. And then a fourth inning where you go basically 1-2-3, getting the double play. So outside of the first, innings 2, 3, and 4, those are A innings for Sam, right? Those are A minus, maybe full A innings. And so if you end the game there, you say, hey, this is like a B minus B start for Sam, especially considering how we saw him in previous games. Mark T's in here saying, I don't mind Sam's start. I think he did fine. I think that's fair. That's why the thumbnail is Sam struggles, ? Right? Like I say here, mixed feelings. You could very well make an argument that this is an okay start from him. And let's not forget what he's done this season, or just in his career in general. This is his first start, of course, of the season, which it's frustrating that you have to wait till September 23rd for him to get his first start. But his 2 other appearances, out of the bullpen, it's hard to judge him fully there, but he wasn't great. Obviously, his most recent appearance, July 8th, 2 innings, 5 earned runs. He walked 4, gave up 5 hits, and gave up a home run. That's one of those outings that I absolutely hate because there's not a single good thing to point to. You didn't limit the walks, but give up a lot of hits, or line the hits, but give up a home run. Now, you did all the above. You walked 4, you gave up 5 hits and a home run, all in just 2 innings, right? The outing before that, you have to go all the way back to June 4th, where you went 2 1/3 inning, gave up just 1 hit, just 1 walk, hit a guy, and gave up 2 runs that were both unearned. So, only 2 games to look at. One of them was awful. The other one wasn't really his fault. This is kind of the one where you can maybe break a tie, and you say it's probably average. So in 3 outings this season, he's been average, right? If you average the 3 out. Now looking at last season, where he did start 3 games, made, in his 3 appearances, not great either. But the moral of the story with Sam is I think it was an average start. It's nothing to say he's certainly going to be in the rotation next year, but it's nothing to say he's already played himself out of the rotation. And I say this for him. I say this for Mitch Ferris. I say this probably for Kane Dana, unfortunately. If those guys are in the rotation next year, then this team is going to stink. And it's not a diss to them. It's a diss to what wasn't done in this upcoming offseason if those guys are in the rotation. It should be Yusei Kikuchi, it should be Jose Soriano, and it should probably be 2, if not 3, free agent acquisitions. Are we going to get that? Probably not. Is Keen Dana probably going to be thrown into this rotation? I probably think so, right? But certainly if more than one of those 3 is in the rotation, good Lord, it's bad news. I don't think Sam did anything tonight to say he belongs in it. He didn't do anything to eliminate himself from the race. It's going to come down to the offseason and spring training for him and just about every pitcher on this team because none of them have set themselves apart. Again, the 5th inning there, frustrating because without the 5th, it's probably a B start for him. In case you forgot, in the 5th inning, he does give up another pair of doubles. Garcia's second double of the ball game. Pasquantino hits a ground ball down the left field line, scores Garcia. It's 3-0. Then he hits Salvi with the pitch. You're thinking, oh, geez, he's starting to fall apart. And then shout out to Bryce T. Helps him out with a beautiful sliding catch on a little blooper from Yastrzemski to get the second out of the inning. Then Zephyr John comes in and ends the inning with a force out on Randall Grichuk. So shout out to Bryce T for having Sam's back. Shout out to Sam for, getting some help, but also still getting through the 5th after giving up the run. But still, that 5th hurts. Feels like if he gets through the 5th, you go 5 innings, 2 earned runs. Nice. Like above average start. With what he does there and probably getting some help from Bryce T to avoid giving up even more runs that inning, I'd put the start at B-. That's what I'd put it at. Maybe I'm being harsh. Maybe it should be a B considering it's his first start of the season, but I'd say B- for Sam. Like Vinny accurately puts here, was it good? No. Was it on par for the Angels? Absolutely. Unfortunately, that's the state of things. We already gave Bryce T a quick shout out, but we'll give him a lot more credit after the break here because we know he can do it with his glove. We know he can do it with his legs, and we know he can do it with his bat sometimes in one way, but he did it with his bat in a completely different way for the first time in his career. So we will talk about that. We'll look forward to the rest of the season as we just have a handful of games left, and we'll give one more shout out to Mike Trout after our break here on the Locked On Angels postcast. I'll be right back. Now, on this Tuesday, today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. We love FanDuel. You know we love FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Yes, that's right, $300. Now, why FanDuel, you might be asking? Well, for a couple reasons, right? First and foremost, it's all about the interface, in my opinion. As much as you want to say it's about the promotions and everything, if you're using this darn thing on your phone, if you're trying to make quick parlays before the game or during the game, live betting, you want a good interface. FanDuel's got the best. You want it to be quick and work well, especially if you're making live bets. That's FanDuel. And they do have great promotions, just like the one I just mentioned. Obviously, you can't do it in the state of California, but if you are ever outside of the state of California, then it is a no-brainer. You got to go with FanDuel. You got to do it. You got to do it. So, are you ready to play? If so, download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. And today's show is also brought to you by Nutrafol. It's fun having a new sponsor every once in a while. And as you guys know, we are now recently talking about Nutrafol. You've probably seen millions of ads for hair growth products and thought, sure, like that actually works, right? There are so many products out there, and it's hard to know which ones are actually going to do anything. But that's why you should give Nutrafol a closer look. It's the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement brand, trusted by over 1.5 million people. So there's a lot of hype there, right? But it's not just the hype. This is a supplement clinically tested that targets the root causes of thinning and shedding with a proactive approach. Fortunately, I'm lucky. I'm only 23. I'm all good on the hair front for now, but I know plenty of people aren't. And I have certainly recommended to others, and I've had other people tell me, hey, when you get older, you got to use Nutrafol. I got coworkers that are a lot older than me. They're struggling with the hair game, and this has helped them out. And one thing that makes them and me in the future feel good is knowing that Nutrafol is NSF certified and backed by peer review studies. Plus, it's simple to add to your day. It's just 4 pills with a meal, no prescription needed, It is easy. So see thicker, stronger hair with less shedding in just 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol. For limited time, Nutrafol is offering Locked On MLB listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code Locked On MLB. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code Locked On MLB. Back here live on the Locked On Angels postcast. Angels fall. Of course, you probably already knew that before you tuned in. They are now 70-87. The 78-78 Royals go above 500 here, 79-78. They wish they were in the NL where they maybe have a chance at the wild card. In the AL, that's not the case. But they pick up an 8-4 win over our Angels. We already talked about Sam Aldegheri and his start. I'd say it's even more, the more I talk about it, I think I'm being a little bit harsh, especially when you consider what other Angel starting pitchers have done. And it's not like he came out and the rest of the bullpen did well, and you're like, oh, Sam lost you this game. No, the bullpen struggled, right? It wasn't Zephyr John. He just got one out. It wasn't Sam Bachman. He gave up one hit and a walk, but 2 strikeouts in his scoreless 6th inning. It was Brock Burke, a guy who at times has looked locked down, at other times has looked not so good. This was one of those not so good times. He comes in, 3 hits, and gives up 2 earned runs despite the 2 strikeouts, despite no walks. And then Urania, I'm sorry. Urania, you ain't it. You ain't it, bro. He's been brutal since he's been, pitching recently. Another 4 hits, another walk, and another 3 earned runs. His ERA up to 4.58 as the Angels give up 15 hits and 4 walks. Meanwhile, offensively, just 5 hits, just 3 walks, and 13 strikeouts. Trout had 2 of them. Sean had 2 of them. Peraza had 2 of them in an 0 for 4. Guzman had an 0 for 3 with 3 Ks. But one guy who actually played pretty well, and it's kind of sad that he's your player of the game, given he only had 1 hit, but he is your player of the game, at least for the Angels. It's Bryce Teodosio.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
Bryce T, we already talked about his ability to make a nice sliding catch. We know that he's got an above average glove. We know he has well above average speed. He's made plays at the wall. He's made diving catches. He made a sliding catch. He's had games with multiple hits, with base hits, with walks, with steals. But one thing he had not done until tonight was go deep. And Bryce T goes deep today. His first career home run. He's now 127 at-bats into his career. You don't love that home run rate. You don't love that the average is still just 213 for a contact hitter, that the on-base percentage is still just 250 for a speed on-base type of guy, that the OPS is 573. But come on, he's 26. He's not like a high prospect or anything. He's kind of just a stopgap player. And if he can at least show you upside at this stage in his career, you'll take it. It's not like I see this swing for Bryce T and go, hey, he's now a guy I think could play every game for the Angels and hit 15 home runs. No, this is a guy who's going to hit 4 or 5 home runs in a season. But he hit it deep. And it's nice to know that if Bryce T gets a hold of one, obviously they're all big leaguers. Most of them, this is the case, but still, you don't know it until you prove it. And he got all this one, 107 off the bat, hits at 394. And it was nice that he kept the game close with the sliding catch, and then he makes the game closer, turning a 3-0 deficit into 3-2. He does it off Reagan's, which you'll take that as well. Obviously, Reagan's hasn't been that great this season, the ERA over 5, but you want to see Bryce T take advantage of a mid-90s, 93.5 mile-an-hour fastball that catches a lot of the zone from a lefty when he's a righty and when the lefty's not very good, right? That's what you want to see Bryce T do, whether he's a power guy or not. So when you combine the sliding catch with the 2-run shot, the standards are low. That's all it takes. But he is our player of the game. Other than that, not much going on. Sean Newell had a hit. That's pretty expected. Taylor Ward with the 9th inning home run as the Angels do score 2 in the 9th. Joe Adell goes 1 for 4. He scored that other run. And then Christian Moore, he went 1 for 4 and scored as well. But really, other than that, there was nothing concerning. Another 0 for 3 from Ohapi. He did get on via walk. Denzer Guzman 0 for 3. It's crazy how you feel like Denzer Guzman's had a good start to the season, and yet he's hitting 138, right? So the standards are in the dirt. Logan Ohapi hitting 217, frustrating, really, 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 really bad. And yeah, so it's rough. It's rough. Mark T says, I love Bryce's hustle. Absolutely. Yeah, I don't know. In terms of pitching, Ben brings up an interesting point. He said the Angels drafted a pitcher in the first and second and third round of this draft. So we should have plenty of pitchers in the future. The problem, Ben, is we draft pitchers like nobody's business, and we have horrible pitching like nobody's business. Certainly, if Bremner can become something, that's great. Again, I don't want to see him in the rotation anytime soon just because that means we rushed him, but we probably will see him, and that's the unfortunate truth of the situation. He also says that my show is awesome, which I appreciate you. Shout out to everybody in here. I know that there's not much of a reason to be in here. I'm not going to lie. Your team's 17 games under 500. We can't, even play exciting baseball right now. But shout out to everybody in here. Vinny's got me dying saying we could draft Paul Skeens and make him bad. Jeez Louise. And Jedi says, imagine if we picked starting pitching at the trade deadline. Yeah, again, I don't want to make every show about the trade deadline, but the fact that the Angels managed to buy the deadline and not buy a starting pitcher and still get worse after a deadline in which you buy is pretty amazing. It's pretty incredible how bad we are. What's also as incredible is that Mike Trout is amazing at baseball, or at least he certainly was. 400 home runs. We celebrated it today. Obviously, he did it on the road on Saturday. Great to see the ovation. I know Vinny was going crazy. He says Trout got a standing O from us tonight, and that was honestly the highlight of the night. It was awesome to celebrate that milestone at the Big A. Of course, again, he's gotten shout outs, but shout out to him. Tomorrow is the giveaway. Mike Trout 400th home run poster. Jealous that I'm not down in SoCal and can't go to that game and get that, but certainly if you're down there, take advantage. Pretty special. Maybe the Angels, they won on Saturday because Trout hit his 400th. Maybe they'll win tomorrow because we're celebrating with the giveaway, his 400th. We'll see. But for now, we're going to wrap this show up. Angels 4, Royals 8. The Angels fall to 70 and 87. Appreciate you guys for being in here. We'll be back here tomorrow. Hopefully the Angels can pick up a win. God, oh God, we need it. Have a great rest of your Tuesday night. I'll see you back here tomorrow. Keep your heads up. Go Mike Trout. Go Bryce T. Sam will be okay. Vinny's saying his Chargers are 3-0. I know. You guys look pretty darn good. Shout out to you. And as always, go Angels. Take care.